Okay, I'm starting. Hello, DGBA Quick Feet coaches and fans of the DGBA. My name is xLuke, and I am joined today by my good pal KillerASCII, and we're delivering to you our Season 1 Quick Feet post-draft power rankings.
Okay, shut up, Luke. You didn't even let me introduce myself. Crazy.
What? Oh, I mean, I thought it was nice to introduce you along with me, but yeah, my bad. I'm sorry.
Alright, you know what? Fair. It's okay. I forgive you. What I won't forgive
So,
is,
oh, sorry,
no, you
you can
go.
go.
You go. Probably shouldn't
Okay,
finish my sentence.
damn, okay. So, disclaimer, we are filming this during week 2. These are obviously, as the title implies, based off post-draft power rankings and not trades you've made since. So, that is the criteria of which we judged your teams. So, with that out of the way, should we start this off with number 16?
Sure.
Okay, so for number 16, we have Young Bisharp, coach of the
To
Driftfield
everyone's
Enterprises.
surprise.
Yeah, I don't think anyone was surprised by this, but we his draft consists of Curum, Gliscor, Primarina, Megabedrill, Scizor, I almost said Uxie, Azelf, Keldeo, Heliolisk, Drapion, Magmortar, and a Growlithe.
You know, that team would be
And
better with an Uxie.
yeah, probably, but it does not have a Uxie, and that is the reason why we put it at number 16.
Facts. Anything that doesn't have an Uxie is complete bottom tier.
Yep, and there's just a tad bit of some glaring weaknesses to the team. You see there's the even though he has double water, which is honestly pretty normal, you have the and double fire, I guess, but when are you
Well,
honestly
I mean,
ever
that's a
gonna bring in
one-pointer. That doesn't exist.
yeah, the Arcanine or not the Arcanine, I wish it was an Arcanine. The Growlithe doesn't exist. Magmortar you're probably bringing into a game. And then
You
just
mentioned the double water, but, like, it's Purina and Keldeo, which are two of really offensive water types.
Primarina can be run defensively, but
Oh, I
even
mean,
then
I know
it's
that,
not
but
fantastic. It's
it's
not
like it's a mon that
fantastic.
you run. You're not running a second water unless you want to make it more offensive.
I feel like
With Keldeo there, you're never bringing it except to be defensive, and it's just a waste of a Primarina.
I feel as though there's unnecessary doubling on typings like bug, fire, poison that you could have used to fill some other type gaps, like maybe like a ghost. Because
Yeah.
yeah, what else? Wait, can you find his grass type for me? Where's the grass type?
His grass type is the Scissor, to be honest.
Ah, yes. Thank you for correcting me.
You're
But
welcome.
what else is there?
I mean,
Anything else worth mentioning?
his electric type is somewhat underwhelming. I think. I mean, I like
Oh yeah,
Heliolisk, but
I'm not fond of Heliolisk. I'm not very fond of Heliolisk at all.
you know, if I'm gonna say one good thing about this team, I think the Curum Gliscor Scissor Gore is actually pretty solid. And that plus like Keldeo and Azelf maybe can probably win some game.
True. Also, something else worth mentioning. You do have decent removal with Gliscor, Scizor, and even Beedrill, I guess. You don't necessarily want to be running defog on any of them, just because that it's just the four move slot syndrome. But
Yeah,
especially
the only
Gliscor, you do
good
not want to
defogger
run it on
there.
Gliscor, since it's one of your only rockers as well. As a matter of fact, is it not his only
It's that
rocker?
Azelf is the other.
Ah,
But
yes.
like if you're running Rocks Azelf, you're not clicking an attack on Azelf. And that's just kind of wasting Azelf.
Yeah, so all in all, just not amazing. Not the best setters, not the best removal either. Combined with just
Just
some
a lot of missing synergy as well.
correct. So is that all we have to say about young Bishop?
That's all I want to say about him.
Yeah, I'm with you there. So moving on to number 15, we have Dasa, coach of the Oklahoma City Septile. His team consists of Mega Scizor, Landorus Therian, Milotic, Mo-O, Thundurus, Incarnate Formation, Galler Slowbro, Centiskorch Shaman, Blissey, Granbull, and Bisharp. And
Well, we
one
put
thing I
this
do
at
like,
number 15 because we couldn't put Bisharp very far from young Bisharp. Had to make sure he was still watching the
true.
video so he remembered it existed.
One thing I do like is the first two picks. I think Mega Scizor and Lando T work pretty well together. They have been, but like with hidden power not being a factor, like they obviously give you decent removal, and then just like U-turn core right off the bat, and
Oh yeah, it's the
combine that
same
with
as the
Milo 2
Scissor
to
Gliscor
patch up
core.
combine that with like Milo 2 to patch up the fire and ice weaknesses from both, and also
Yeah,
flip turn.
and Lando is a good partner for Milo on the other end as well. That first three is pretty good together.
Honestly, the Komodo isn't
Unfortunately, it
even that
starts
bad
to go
either.
downhill. Yeah, I think the first five Mons are fine. I think the Thundurus is good too. And then you get to round 6 Gather Slowbro, and
Yeah,
you wonder, wait, what?
I'm just yeah, like we don't know like fully what this mod is capable of yet. Just yet to be fair, but like
It
I mean, you probably could have waited on it for
Oh,
quite a
you
while.
easily could have waited on it.
Like that could have been like a Blissey run. I mean, lasted you so long, but even
Speaking of
so,
Blitzing lasting, there are just a few, like, that's not even the only underwhelming one. You got the Shaman there, and I feel like you could have gotten better value rather than the Shaman that
yeah.
your team really didn't need
I'm not a
at all.
huge fan of Shaman. Like
I don't think it's
it's decent.
bad, but you
Yeah,
didn't need it on this team at all. You already have
that's a
a
good way
good
to put
ground
it.
resist, like, yeah. And it just another thing with this team is the fastest Mon is the Thunderous, and then it drops to the Shaman. So it's a pretty
Yeah,
slow
and
team.
you're probably not going to be running like offensive Shaman too often. I mean, if you are,
You
all the
might
power
be
to you,
forced
but
to. You might be forced to because
yeah.
then it drops off the Lando T after. So if you're not running a fast Shaman, you're gonna have a lot of issues with opposing offense.
Yeah, the problem with that is that you're probably going to be pressed to running like Scarf Lando a lot more often,
Yeah, but even that, like, there are a lot of Starfers that can beat Scarf Lando.
right? And I mean, Granville, I'm not sure what other fairies were on the board. I mean, so I don't want to like bash on that as your fairy, but I mean, maybe with
I mean,
like
you could have just, instead of getting the Gather Bro and the Shaman, you could have had a lot more points to get a better fairy.
yeah, I mean, maybe it's not awful with like Wish Blissey backing it, but
No,
who
it's still
knows? And
pretty
then
awful.
I
And
I
then
mean,
the
and then
dark type is Bisharp, by the way. I just want to reiterate this.
yeah, that
Fortunately,
is
there's a real steel type, but like there's no real dark type.
yeah. I mean, and the another thing is that like you don't have like much hazards outside of like Lando Kamau Blissey, and you can't
I
really
mean,
like pressure like
those are three solid rockers. I don't see the issue. And
yeah,
then there's
yeah,
even
but
Thunder,
here's
or not Thunder, Bisharp. Bisharp's
the
the
thing
next
is
rocker.
the only hazards you have are rocks, so you can't like
Yeah,
additionally
this
pressure
team
with
would be
like
a lot better with a spike
spikes or T
attacker. I
spikes,
agree.
which would force defog, and then you can get in Bisharp on a defog and activate the Defiant, but
Yeah.
without that you there's
Oh,
not
that's
really
even
much
fair.
value you can have
Yeah, but like,
Bisharp.
I mean, even with that, you're not getting anything out of Bisharp.
I, yeah, sure. You said it, not me. But
I think it's my job to be
that's
the mean one.
that's fair. We always need a good pessimist around. But moving on from DOS, at number
Number
14. My
14.
bad, my bad. Killer, would you like to introduce this team?
Sure. Number 14, we've got K Savage, Columbus Crowbats. Got the Mega Dynasty Celestiva, Greninja, Salamence, Arcanine, Sweet Unit, Delmise, Hippowdon, Vikavolt, and Stuntank. You got any initial thoughts, Luke?
Uh, I I'm pretty fond of like the first six picks with disregarding Ments though.
I
So
agree.
honestly, just DNC, Selly, Gren, Arcanine, and Suicune.
I agree. Those 5 mons are solid. Mence is a very iffy mon, but it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, it's not awful, but
Uh,
I feel like
there's
I feel
also
as the no,
oh,
you can go. I'm
sorry.
sorry. No.
Yeah,
You're good.
I wanted to actually be positive a bit more. I do like the hazard setting somewhat, sort of, because
I
you
mean,
have webs,
hippos.
you've
I
got
think
spikes, you got T spikes. The problem is, yeah, the problem is your rocks here, and the problem is that Hippowdon.
I will say I do think hippo's like a great rocker, but it just feels kind of out of place on
This
this
Hippo
team.
is so out of place on this team. It Arcanine can't Morning Sun. Suicune loses health, so it's like losing its leftovers if it's that. Delmise can't Synthesis. Like, it just hurts the whole team so much if it's sand, and if it's not sand, then why did he spend so much on Hippowdon? And I mean, why is it sand when you have no sand abuser?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but does Vikavolt get defog?
I don't remember. Let me check really quick. It might, but like you're not running
So
that,
I'm gonna say
even if it
I
does.
think the hazard removal
It does
is
not
decent.
actually. It does not get defog.
Okay, so I think the hazard removal is decent enough. Telmise isn't an awful spinner. You can run like boots defog
Delmai's
with
meant
Mance, I
stun tank,
suppose.
and then he got magic
And then
bounce for prevention. It could
right,
be
yeah.
worse. Though I will say, I mean, I feel like you could do better as a poison type than stun tank, but whatever.
I've used Skuntic a few times, never been a huge fan, but like it has its matchups where it can
I
be
mean, I only
useful.
drafted if I realized shit, I forgot a poison type and a dark type. But you had a
Yeah,
dark type, so you
honestly,
could have gotten
that's
another
just like one
poison.
of the late picks where you
Yeah,
just
but you could have
realize you need
gotten
something to fill
another
the void.
shitty poison instead of Skuntank.
Perhaps, but at the same time, he actually no, I was gonna say he
Yeah, I
didn't
don't
have
want to
Razor
nitpick
Leaf, but
too much
he has
about
the
that.
ground. Yeah,
I really
like
think it's just spending so much on the Salamence that's just a bit weird here, I think, and then the Hippowdon that's so out of place. Those are like some of the biggest stuff for me.
yeah, and also personally, I just this is just like personal, but I prefer my poison types just carrying T spikes just to have that option. But you have that covered with ground anyway,
Yeah, you
so
still have a T Spiker, so I don't think it's a big deal.
right,
Um,
yeah.
I also will say, even though this team started off really strong, it feels a bit underwhelming offensively to me, and I'm not sure if you think the same.
No,
Like
I
for a
agree
team
with
that
you.
started with like Megadancy, Celestina, Greninja, there's like no other. I mean, I guess there's Ments, but that's the entire offense, really.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that front.
Like you spent over half the team on the defensive core, pretty much.
Yes. So, with that out of the way, we will move on to number 13, and that is Blaze, coach of the Albany Obama Snows. He drafted, as you can see, he drafted Landers Incarnate, Latios, Cinderace, Sylveon, Mega Aggron, Buzzwole, Gourgeist, Rotom Frost, Komala, shout out Koala Gamer Kid 57, and then Obstagoon and Lantern,
Only it was actually Koala Gamer Kid 57 he drafted, and not Kamala.
if only. But this isn't this is something like I noticed, but it does kind of. There's a coach in Quick Feet I've known for quite some time. I'm just saying, this team kind of looks like something that that person would draft, but he did not. So
I'd say we'll get to them,
yeah, we will get to them. Maybe soon,
but
maybe later.
about this team, um, I like the
And
top three. I think it's a really good top three,
yeah,
and I think Sylveon's okay with them. I think
I
Aggron's
think
okay with Sylveon,
Sylveon
but
is
I
fine. I
think
think
those
you
two
probably
both
could have
went
gone
way
with a
too
better
early.
steal.
I mean, I think they're yeah. I don't like that. I think both of them went way too early. Is another thing.
Well, I
I
think
think you
round
could
four
have waited
Sylveon was
another round
fine,
or two.
but
I don't know.
yeah.
I just don't think Sylveon's a good enough mon that you need to prioritize it. I think there are enough options. I will say I
The
love the
Buzz.
Gorgeist pickup though.
Yeah, I was gonna say I actually like the Buzzwole pick myself as well.
Oh, the Buzzwole too. Yeah, like both of those I think were good. Buzzwole's That mon is nuts, and then Gorgeist is a really underrated budget mon, I think.
Mhm. Another issue
Speaking of
is,
budget mons, I like the double electric. I think they're both good mons as well.
oh yeah, I like I'm pretty fond of Lantern.
Yeah, I've had a lot of
But
success with it. And then I'm pretty much a Rotom Frost Whisperer, I think.
yeah. So one issue there is with this team is that this team only has two rockers, being Lando I and Aggron,
Yes, you're
and
basically forced to bring rocks on Aggron every
rocks on
week. Yep.
Aggron. Yeah,
And like you don't even want to bring Aggron. So the fact that it has to be your rocker is really annoying.
yeah. And I mean, if you bring rocks Lando, eh, I mean, you don't really have
I
a
mean, I've
Lando.
done it, but like you'd rather not.
Yeah, that could be used for like some other coverage slot or just like
Or
U-turn or
just
whatever.
setup as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
Uh
So like
Speaking of things you'd rather not do, as much as I love Lantern, I don't love it as your only water type.
right, I was gonna mention that, but I mean, yeah, another
Right?
water would have been nice on this team.
Yeah, I think it's a good
Maybe
supplementary water. I feel like
maybe
you're gonna
over
be a big
place of
fan of
Kamala.
stuff. Well, are we allowed to predict the future? Because something tells me in the future he did drop Kamala,
Ah,
and he may have also made the team worse, but we don't have to rank that, fortunately.
nice. Good to hear.
Yep.
At least he has another water.
No, I miss the Lantern.
Oh, that's just you, I think. And
Anyways, I think we're running out of stuff to say at this point.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
Obstagoon is cool. There you go. I don't think I really said anything about it existing, but I like it a lot.
yeah. Goon is kind of bugger. Shout out to Platoon Goon for blowing a 3-0 lead against YGW, but I digress.
And I think it's a really
Would
good fit on this team too.
Joey, would you like to give us number
Yeah,
12?
sure. Number 12, we've got Apollo and the Trojan Mudsdales with Zapdos, Tapu Lele, Megalopan, Swampert, Artana, Alolan Muck, Volcanion, Bronzong, Dusclops, Goodra, and Calyrex. So, yeah, I mean, of all the meme one pointers, you can get Calyrex.
I don't hate the Calyrex. I mean, I do hate it as your only grass, but
I
or
mean,
well,
he just doesn't
I
have a
mean,
grass. Let's just put it that
There's a
way.
Kartana, but it's like more of a steal than
He
anything.
just doesn't
Let's
have
be
a
honest.
grass. It's not a steal. It's not a grass. Cortana is
It's just
pure
Kartana.
offense. Yeah, it's pure offense. At least he
Yeah.
realized it's not a steal, and he got the bronze on, which he's a Goatmon.
Mhm.
So
So this is kind of similar to a team I drafted last season. When I say similar, I mean only Zapdos Lop. And
you mean the
I've
best
learned
part of
through
the
that
team?
experience that Lop is not that good. It's probably it's a pretty good round three pick, but as like one of your only like offensive breakers combined with Cart, I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, that's
It's
kind of my thing with this team. Is it is really weak for a team with like Lopunny. Like you want a lot of breakers, but you only really have Lopunny, Cortana, and Lele, and I don't even think Lele is very good. So
yeah, it definitely foul off a little bit with the terrain nerf, but it's still decent. I'm just not sure if
you
it
might be
was.
able to run offensive Volcanion in some games, and that might help a bit. But there's only so much you can
Offensive
do
Vulcan
there
fine,
too.
but yeah, you want to be running like fatter sets with boots.
Well, you don't need to as much because you have the Swampert to help out.
Yeah, or if you want to be like a former Swarm champion, you could run Misty Terrain Volcanion to stop Suicunes.
Of course, even though you have the Lele to
Hmm.
override it.
Yep. Nope. This Misty Terrain is cooler, but
Understandable.
uh,
Why did Dusclops go before Gudra? Actually, you know what? Neither of these mods were ever getting picked, so fine.
yeah, yeah. I was gonna say I'm not a big fan of Gudra's the dragon, but
It doesn't
in
make
that
him sense on this
at
team
that
at
late,
all.
I mean, I guess a dragon like Gudra is salvageable, but yeah,
Like,
I'm
I
just
think
not a
the
fan.
first six mons or so, first five or six, were pretty okay together. Bronzong's okay too, is like, yeah, you realize you're running out of points and you need to steal, and then like nothing else really fits at all.
Hmm. I don't feel like the team has fantastic synergy. I don't know
You
about
know what's
you.
Yeah, I don't either. You know what I is another thing that's kind of sad? This Megalope team really doesn't have that much for fat psychics.
That
Like Muck's
is
not
very true.
without pursuit, Muck's not really threatening them very well.
Yeah,
So the best you have to pressure psychics is Cortana, and that's like literally
yeah.
it.
I mean, defensively, you have your Bronzong, but like all your psychic resists
Well,
are
defensively you
just
don't have an issue, but I mean you don't
yeah.
break, and nobody wants them broken.
And even then, like defensively, like nothing is gonna be able to heal itself, so that's kind of a problem. Aside from like rest,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah. Rest
rest.
is your only recovery on this entire team. That's true, except for this Synthesis Cortana and the recover Calyrex. I think it gets recovered.
And if we're just talking about fat mons in general, your only recover is Zapdos. I mean, that's not a huge problem because Zapdos is really good
I mean, are
on
you
no
calling
matter what way you
Calyrex
look
not
at
a
it.
Fatmon? Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's Calyrex.
Subseed Calyrex gonna 6-0?
I hope it does. Please, please, Apollo, please, please, please. Bring Calyrex to a game 6-0 with that subseed set, and we will
Speaking
make a
of
revision to
people
this
with
list, and we will put you at
subsets,
number one.
speaking of people with subsets, you want to move on to number 11?
Yeah, sure. Let's go on to number 11 with J-Caps and the New York Islanders. We have Zeraora, Slowbro, Skarmory, Mega Charizard X, Galar Weezing, Zarude, Snorlax, Donphan, Swellow, had to upgrade the chat out that he got 6-0'd by, and Hitmonlee.
You know, Subtoxic Zeraora is my favorite round 1 mon.
Honestly, yeah. I unironically enjoy running that set, but
Yeah, well, not as much as J-Caps, that's all I'm gonna say.
uh
I mean, there are a lot of mods that I think are good on this team, in theory at
I
least.
agree.
I I like the Zera, I like the Slowbro, I like the Weezing, the Zarude, the Snorlax. I even think Hitmonlee is a pretty underrated mod, and I think was good value for how he got it.
Oh yeah, you could run fun stuff like Misty Seed Hitmonlee with Weezing in the back as well to set it up for you. But
Yeah, but I think you could just click buttons on this team. I think it's just nice
you
as
could
a
also
writer.
just click like Banded Reckless HAK among other shit.
Or you could just click close combat and not miss.
No, I prefer damage. I don't know about you.
Being a close combat, you just run the white herb on Burden set
You
and
live
die.
and die by the high jump kick.
Well, you will definitely die by it, I can assure you of that. But we're getting a bit off topic. We're talking about Hitmonlee, but like the real monster in the room is the Dawn fan.
Yes, yes, the Dawn fan. That is
It
probably
exists,
not the most optimal
unfortunately.
ground. I mean, it
No,
gives you rocks, it gives you spin, but it's not the most optimal ground.
no, there. Yeah, you can do better. I think.
Oh, for sure. There's
Uh,
like I mean, you got it pretty late. There's probably some decent like cheap grounds available. Perhaps a Palisade?
speaking of cheap grounds, well, not really. Speaking of that, but the defensive core. At first, you think it looks really good, and then I want to ask you, what's special? It is literally Snorlax.
It's Snorlax.
That is his only special bulk on like the team. The next best thing is going to be like a Spadef Slowbro or Starmie, which aren't Spadef mons at all.
You gotta pull up with the AV Don fan, bro.
So like you're going to be really dependent on Snorlax in like every matchup, pretty much.
Yeah, that's mm, yeah,
Like I mean, Snorlax is a good mon, but it's nice to not be so predictable.
right.
Also, speaking of that Dawn fan, it and Skarmory are the only rockers on this team. So if you want to fit spikes on Starmie, you're probably not going to be able to run rocks unless you're running rocks on the Donphan. So it's going to be forced to come more than you want to, just to be a rocker.
Yeah, I feel like you'd see the two together most often for that reason.
Right, and I think that's going to hurt him a lot because that's going to sap him Like, he'd much rather bring more of his other mons.
Yeah, and like I feel like uh the only breaker that you're gonna bring like multiple times, I feel, with this team is first Zera to just like clean like game or just give it openings to set up is Zardax. Cause
I mean,
like
Zardex is really the only.
yeah, Zardex is like the only good breaker. Cause like I mean you have Swallow and Hitmonlee, but when are you really gonna bring those that often?
But yeah,
Right?
like, as much as I like Hitmonlee, it's coming to like 2 games max, probably.
Yeah, pretty much. And one thing
And yeah,
like you have T-Spike Weezing I like, but I mean I've used Galar Weezing a few times. I mean, it's not a horrible fairy. I think poison fairy typing is pretty nice, but
that typing is pretty nuts.
the problem with it is that like I feel I don't know if you've used Gallery Weezing before. I just feel like it's like a hard time just to like choose what ability to run on it, whether it be like
Yeah, I haven't drafted it
neutral gas or
myself, but
levitate.
for
Because like
sure. I mean, even
having
just
another ground
even just with
have
regular Weezing, I have that issue. So I can
yeah
imagine with
having
Galar
another
Weezing,
ground
it's just a
immune.
bigger investment.
Yeah, having another ground immune would be really nice. Even though like on the flip side, neutral gas is just like a really good ability.
I mean, he should just not Mega Evolve with his own as the extra ground immunity he wants.
I suppose that is a strategy. I won't say it's a viable strategy, but it could be.
And yeah, you were talking about his breakers, but yeah, I just think his offense is pretty underwhelming because it's really Zera, Zarude, Zardex. That's like the
Yeah, I
entire
mean,
offense.
if I have anything to say about it, it could like definitely just like shatter weak defensive teams, but I'm
Yeah,
not so
but
sure how much of those there are.
I mean, yeah, he has most of the defensive mons in the first place, so at
True.
least most of like the good ones. So yeah, I don't know.
But
Yeah,
is that all we have to say
you
about
yeah,
JCaps?
I'm out of stuff. Yeah,
All right.
so from
Uh
one EDC Dune to another. Oh no, never mind. I am
yeah.
wrong.
Oh oh yeah, yeah, you're right, you're right.
I am a snake.
You're right in the sense that you were wrong. Number 10 we have
Quang
Brother
Gang.
Quang. Wang's Win Squad 6. We have Tornadus Theory, Invictini, Excadrill, Tangrowth, Mienshao, Mega Altaria, Jellicent, Tyranitar, Circuitry, and Cinccino. And like right off the bat, this to me, this just looks like an Oris team with like Tornti, Victini, Sand, and then the Jellicent, and it's the random Mega
You know,
Altaria.
yeah. Other than the circuitry, I totally see it. Like if you just replace the circuitry with like any other
I don't know
electric
why
type,
the
that is
circuitry's there
very.
either, but it's there.
You know what? I don't understand why it's there. The sand core. Why is the sand there?
Uh, I couldn't tell you.
Because I mean, Tangrowth really doesn't like the sand. Um, a lot of these mons don't really have great like. You're gonna whittle down your Altaria, which kind of wants the roost to stay healthy and stuff. You're gonna whittle Jellicent that is already one of those mons that's just barely good enough to do its job. Like I like it, but it's not like a god, you know.
Yeah,
So
T-Tar
the
X
extra chip you're giving on your Jellicent is not helping.
Yeah, Guitar actually gives you synergy, but at the same time, you need to be mindful of like the mons that you're drafting that are gonna take sand chip as well.
You're ignoring the most important issue with T-Tar Excadrill, and that's that it's not Gigalith Excadrill.
Fair, fair. I mean, there's some places where T-Tar is nicer than Gigalith, but yeah, Gigalith is probably.
I can't imagine spending that many points on a sandball when like it's not even. I think Gigalith's just more reliable as a sand set.
I mean, if you look at it, he needed a dark type, and
He did,
I
but he'd
kind of
have a lot
thought,
more points to get one if he didn't get the T-Tar.
oh, true, you could just take Gigalith and not draft a Circuitry because that mon is bad.
Yeah, or you could just
It'd be
draft the
nice.
Dark type earlier because you know nobody's taking a Gigalith from you.
True. That's also a valid point.
But I mean, I've been negative about this so far, but I think there's a lot of positives here. I like the Torn T15 core, and I like the Regen core.
Yeah, I like the offensive firepower that this team has a lot. It's like
Yeah,
Torn
we were
is
complaining about offense earlier. I think this team's got plenty of that.
yeah. I know some people aren't particularly fond of Torn, but I think it's really solid for what it does. Victini is great. Had a really good nice glove thanks to boots. Excadrill. It's Excadrill.
It's
It's been
Excadrill,
yeah.
and he got it
Yeah.
around 3. Like,
It's
honestly,
literally Excadrill. And then
yeah, there's not much else to say.
of course, you can't forget Circuitry because it has 170 something base special attack. It's so
You
good.
know, I think I will completely ignore it. I would rather fix the Mega Ult.
That is completely fair. I was kidding. I hate Circuitry. I
I don't actually
don't
think
think
it's a bad fit on this team, honestly, because
I
it's a good
and
partner for the Vic team.
I'm just really not fond of it. There's probably better electrics on the board, but
There probably were, but as far as teams you could randomly throw a Zerkatry on go, I think this isn't bad.
I just hate how limited its move pool is. Especially losing
It
hitting
does have
power. That was a
most of what it
huge
needs,
blow.
though. Yeah, but it has most of what it needs.
Yeah, you
Like,
could
it
say
has
that with this
ground
team.
coverage.
I
It
could see
has
it.
dragon coverage.
Yeah. Uh,
Honestly, I think worse than hidden power was signal beam being snapped.
I'm honestly not sure how I feel about the Mega Alt, because it fills your Dragon and Fairy slots, but I mean, uh,
I think this team benefits okay,
yeah, I think it's
but
fine. It's just Mega
you know
Alt.
what it accentuates though? This team is really not a fan of ice types because you're really reliant on Jellicent to handle those. I mean, you're
Oh yeah,
relying on Jellicent to
Weavile.
handle a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
Weavile
just
just you need
Weavile's
like
just
Stark Mienshao to not lose to Weavile. Jellicent.
yeah. You need Scarf Mienshao. You need like Colbur Berry and Yashi Berry on like everything. You need Chopple Tyranitar. Just put a berry on everything, and Scarf
Yeah,
Mienshao.
honestly, Yachi Torn.
Yeah, you need the Diachi Mega Alt in the cut. I would let you get away with that. It's time the quick feed moderator.
Yeah, I have no power here.
That's okay. With that being
But
said, is there anything else worth mentioning?
um well, the Rockers are just the Senate core, which isn't the worst, but it's a bit iffy. I think you're kind of forced to
You'll
bring
probably see it
extra
on
drill
T-Tar a
every.
lot.
Yeah, but like you're kind of forced to bring extra drill one way or another every week. So
Yeah,
not that
there's
that's a
some
bad
just
thing
like
because extra is good, but
yeah.
yeah,
You could just if like T-Tar is a bad matchup, you can just get away with running Rocks Mold Breaker Drill pretty easily,
yeah.
and that's not awful. But yeah,
Um.
the slight lack of rockers kind of hurts a little bit, but
Also, I
well,
realize he has no grounded poison, so hopefully you'll be okay against these spikes.
oh, that
Because
is not fun.
he only has 3 removers, but one of them is a Mega Altaria that's gonna get poisoned first.
Not if you switch in regular alt and then Mega Evolve.
Yeah, well that'll work all game, I'm sure.
Yes. I'll let him run Boots alt. Relax.
Alright, alright.
But
As I said, it's not my division. I'm not gonna make a stand.
you're right, it is in your division. It's my division. Get over it.
Alright, well, would you
But yeah,
like to go to the next post in your division?
yes, let's. So at number 9, we have Yahoodles, coach of the Tynamo BUCURESTI. I have no idea what that is.
I'm gonna pretend
But
you said it correctly.
okay, thank you. So Yahoodles drafted Deoxys Speed, Clefable, Galar Zapdos, Zygarde, Mega Blastoise, Incineroar, Rotom-Mow, Registeel, Tauros, Drifblim, Walrein, and the Ariados.
Walrein and Texas Roadhouse.
I don't know
Gotta
what
love
that's
them.
referring to, but
The
yes, sure.
Tauros. It's the Tauros.
Uh,
Ask CMR.
big, yeah, Big Robert.
Or we'll ask Jess, I guess, too. But yeah, but yeah, I mean, Walrein, so you know it can't be a bad team.
Yeah, You probably could have just,
That's the Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness title right there.
yeah, I mean, you probably could have just, uh, not drafted the last three and just gotten a poison, but
Well,
yeah,
yeah, you could have gotten a poison that isn't DOS, because that's not a poison. You're right.
yeah. But, what else do we have here?
I'd say you didn't need the Tauros, but honestly, you kind of did need the
Yeah, you
Tauros.
do, because
So,
you do for the speed.
not even for
I
the
was,
speed. I think Incineroar is just not quite a reliable enough archetype to be your only Ghost Resist. Like, I feel
I
like
think, I think Incineroar's fine, but yeah, I see what you mean for sure.
I think having another Ghost Resist is just good to have. Is kind of what I mean.
Yeah, that's
Because Incineroar
completely
can get
fair.
pressured. It's rock Sneak, so if it loses its speed, it's really bad. But I
Hmm.
think Tauros was a good way there. Anyways, I'm very, very. I don't know what I'm trying to say here right now. Deoxys speed totally balanced, guys. Totally.
Yes, it is very fast. That makes it broken,
Yeah,
right?
it's also the only good special attacker on the team.
Blastoise?
Nanamon. Mega Blaster is Nanamon.
Uh, I mean,
Walrein is the water type on this team.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't go that low.
You're right, but like I really don't like Mega Blastoise, and I think that's one of the bigger flaws with this team is this team is really dependent on Mega Blastoise, and that monster's just bad.
I'll be honest, I haven't seen enough of Mega Blastoise in this gen to like properly comment on that. But from the little bit of what I have seen, I think like at least with the Shell Smash ban, but I think
Oh yeah, I mean
I
if we were allowing Shell Smash, that's a
if it
complete
was
different story.
you would run this set every week and you would get away with it.
But as is,
That's just how it
you're bringing
is.
it as your fat water, and you just want it to
Yeah,
do everything on this team, and it's not going to do any of them.
I like it as a pivot, but
It pivot, but you don't. That's the one thing you don't want it to be on this team. You want it to be a breaker. You want it to be defend like a really fat one, and it's just not. Like the only, yeah, I don't. That's kind of the thing is this team runs through Blasters because you know the removal is Blastoise Rotom-Mow. By the way, maybe Drifblim, but like
I'm
Blastoise
not
and
bringing
Rotom-Mow.
Drifloon. Let's be
You're
real.
not bringing Defog Drifblim. Let's put it that
If you're
way.
bringing Drifloon, you're bringing 5 months.
If you're breaking Drifblim, you must have made a lot of FAs that you had to train center because you don't have one right now. I don't know why there's a Drifblim.
Yeah, you could really value from some better removal.
Yeah, or
But that is
some.
something to consider with your trades.
Yeah, I mean, it's not all bad though. I think the top seven, other than Blastoise, like the six mons in that, are all good.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
the D, like the D.
I like Galar Zapdos a lot. I think Zygarde's still pretty good this
I
gen.
think Galar Zapdos is really slept on. Zygarde round four is kind of nuts. I think.
That's a great steal.
Like you could have gotten that round two and nobody would have blamed you, and you got it round four.
Yeah. And even then, looking at your round two, Clefable is broken, so
Yeah, like I mean, you could have done better with steals than Registeel, I will say. And maybe part of that's because you waited so long to get a steal, but like you got a round five Mega Blastoise. Like not
yeah,
just did
I
you
don't
draft them on, you drafted it round five, like it was going somewhere.
yeah, I wouldn't have seen anyone else taking Mega Blastoise or even being on their radar. But
Honestly, if
yeah,
they did, it was a blessing in disguise anyways, so
perhaps. But even with that in mind, I don't hate Registeel. It's just I don't even know how to put it, but I think Registeel
I
is
will say
okay.
one issue with it is Registeel really loves a good wish passer, and the wish on this team is Clefable.
I mean, Wishport isn't an awful set, but you probably
It's
want
a
to
lot worse
run more
if you run unaware
classics
soft boiled.
than just Wishport.
Yeah, I mean there are just so many good Clefable sets. You can run unaware soft boiled now, which was like one of the biggest reasons to run wish before
Yeah, you
was
could run
to run
Unware
unaware.
Soft Boiled, even with like boots to try to bluff.
Yeah, yeah,
What's the ability?
like
Magic Guard? Yeah.
Yeah. But also just like loses all momentum on this team. And with like the top 7, it looked like you were going for a very momentum based team. And then you
Hmm.
just drafted Reggie Steele.
Yeah. So I feel
But
like I just want to say I feel like we're being just like way too negative in general. Like this is a pretty good team.
yeah, but it's easier to be negative than it is to be positive. Like how many ways can I say I think some of these mods are really good?
And then at the same time, if you look at the bottom row, I think some of these ones are really bad. But
Well,
yeah.
yes, but there's also a wall range, so it all balances.
I don't get your obsession with Warren, but even
It's okay.
whether I
Some
do,
people will share it, and that's all that matters.
I hope
I'm
so for your sake.
yeah,
But
I don't know why I'm
moving
coming
on.
off as a wall range fan. I don't care. Yeah, moving
Yeah,
on. Top half of the teams. You
yes.
want to talk about your
Let's.
boy?
Oh, I'd love to talk about my boy Peyton SYP, Boise State Blastoise. He's got Garchomp, Galar-King, Corviknight, Aerodactyl, Vaporeon, Thundurus, Therian, Conkeldurr, Serperior, Munchlax, Clefairy. We're drafting LCs now. No, we're not. He is a Spiritomb, and then there's a 12th Mon Lopunny.
You
Oh
get
my
to call
goodness. So,
Peyton an asswipe?
huh?
Nothing. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I can call him an S-wipe all I want. So I can say that at least for the earlier stages of the draft, I did help Peyton SYP draft this a little bit because
And I guess what round you stopped helping him in?
go for it.
I'm gonna guess round 6 or 7.
You would be correct.
Yeah,
But
because I feel like that's when you can tell when the team starts to fall off a bit.
yeah, so like he by the time he reached out to me, he had Garchomp and Galar King already. It was round 3, and he was asking whether he takes Mega Arrow or a I'm pretty sure it was a different Mega, but or I think it was just Mega Arrow Corviknight, and then me, being the friend that I am, I remembered to my golden days in on DPL where I drafted like Zeratini, Corviknight Arrow as like a double flying, and honestly like the two together it wasn't that bad, but like the main reason behind that was because I had two electric immunes in Swampert and Zeraora, and then that's what I kind of like recommended to him. So like I
Yeah, I
told
mean,
him
he
the
had
two.
the same
I
thing
thought the
with
two were good
Garchomp.
together. Just make sure you draft two like more multiple electric immunes.
Yeah, I mean, he did that. He did that
And
alright.
what? Yeah, he did that. And like that's honestly about the extent of which I helped him. Because I think I left him on red when he asked if he should draft Vaporeon. But
What a good friend you are.
if I had remembered to respond, I would have told him to take Vaporeon anyway. I had it last season.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
think
fine
it's a
with it.
bad fit on this team.
I just don't like that it's at least in my experience, it was just pressed to run boots pretty often.
Yeah, I don't think it's a great mod, but I think it's good for this team. I think it's what this team. Well,
Yeah, for
sort
sure.
of. You know what would be a lot better than a Vaporeon here? I had this brought up before. Like something like
Uh,
Milotic.
True, but it's kind of hard when Melodic goes round
Because
3.
there's just like no Wish recipients on this team. Like Wish is just kind of overkill. So I
Yeah,
think
it
it's just a
helps,
bit
but
too slow in that.
it's a little unnecessary. But even then, like if you don't want to run Wish, like you could just run that just frees up another slot
I
for
would
like
say no, you have to run Wish because otherwise your Vaporeon's not getting recovery.
true, you can run Life Dew instead. Life Dew's cool.
Or you could just run Rest at that point. By the way,
No, I think I'll run Life Dew.
okay, understandable. By the way, I don't want to forget to mention there is a round 2 Gather Slowking. Cool. All right, it's been
This
mentioned.
is yeah, SYP, this is an 8 mod. Uh I'm pretty sure this is
It
the
shouldn't
earliest
be
Galar.
round 2 in Outlawn.
I can in 8 mod I can kind of understand, but I'm pretty sure this is the earliest Galar Slowking. I think he just wanted to use it honestly,
All
which
right.
is
So,
understandable. Like it's a pretty good mod. Not as good as
so,
in 8 mod, but
so originally when I was looking at this team, I thought this team was really good, and I might have even put it higher. And then I realized, I don't know if you noticed, Luke, this team is fast.
It is.
Like, so fast that there is a speed gap from Thunder Styrian to Corviknight.
Nice.
He goes from 101 to
To
67,
67. Yeah.
and that is a huge flaw in this team. Because that means you're going to be fighting like max HP base 80s, which is kind of nuts, I think. And like max HP
Yeah.
base 90s, 95s, even 100s most of the time, unless you're trying to avoid like like trying to aggro creep or something.
There's also like a gap from SERP to Arrow, which is also not great, but it's
It's
still
less of a
manageable.
deal.
It's manageable, yeah.
I
But
mean, that only really matters with like 130s, I think.
that's another thing I just felt like mentioning, but yeah.
I mean, it's nowhere near as big as the lower gap. Like, you either have really fast Mons or really slow Mons, and there's no
Hmm.
real middle ground. Which is why I really don't like Lopunny on this team. I actually think it's a pretty underrated 1-point Mon, but this is not the team for Lopunny.
I just don't see when you'd ever use a regular low pony.
I think what would have been nice of this team, even though it wouldn't have really fixed the issues too much, would have been something like a Greedent or maybe a Bouffalant if you could spend a bit more, or just none of them because I just realized there's a Munchlax, so you don't even need normal. So why do you have a
Yeah,
Lopunny?
because like if hypothetically speaking, if SYP would ever come to me and just like ask for building help, I would straight up if I saw a Lop on his team, I would tell him to just ditch the Lop. Like, I don't think it's
I mean,
worth it, especially when you
I
have a
can
Munchlax.
imagine I can imagine it might have a matchup because it does a different thing from Munchlax. The problem is what it does is completely unnecessary for him
Yeah,
because his team is so fast already. It's got good momentum grabbing. Like he doesn't need it.
right.
But
So
yeah, other than that, I mean, I don't think Superior is that bad. I think it's a bit overhated this gen.
I agree.
I just
I
think
think
like
Serp
with
fills a fine role nowadays because you can replace that HP fire slot or HP whatever slot with defog, which makes it a decently better grass since it has decent bulk as well.
yeah, it's an alternative remover so Coordinate doesn't have to run it on this team.
Right, yeah.
Because none of the other mons that get defog want to on your team. So it's nice to have another good defog option. It can also just kind of spam the layer, which is nice because you don't have many other ways to spread status.
Yeah, yeah.
And considering, like, I don't know, it could just be good to deal with just
To be
everything. I mean,
honest, I kind of
it's
want to like
paralysis,
T
but it's
spikes on
broken.
this team.
Oh yeah, T-Spikes would be really good.
T spikes with like
Oh my
Chomp
gosh,
Arrow,
sounds like a job
maybe.
for Arya Doss. Oh my gosh.
Oh, too bad that one drafted. A
Whatever.
true
Get
shame.
Spinnerack. Get Spinnerack.
I would strongly advise against that.
Well, I would strongly advise against listening to most of what I say at this point.
Fair. But I think that's all about that. What of what we have to say about Peyton SYP. So,
Yeah,
Killer,
I
would you
mean,
like to give us number 7?
oh, I would love to. At number 7, we have Fist Your Doom, host of the I Am Too Lazy to Find the Long version of the team name, so we'll just call it Pathetic, the short version. He has Zamazenta Crown. Zamazenta is free. Slow King, Mega
Yes.
Garchomp, Togekiss, Volcarona, Decidueye, Audino, Grimmsnarl, Paparaja, and Lycanroc Dust. So, Zamazenta is free.
Yes, it is free. Let's go. Yes. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So, this is one of the few teams that we kind of disagreed with each other on. Like, I had actually had this one a good bit lower than you. So, you want to talk about what's good about this team?
I'm one thing's for sure. I think Zamazenta's pretty good and it just has
Oh
Monzo like
yeah.
if I'm being
You don't have
honest.
to tell me that.
It just has Monzo like I like if I'm being honest. Like I like the Mega Chomp. Even though it's not fantastic, I'm a fan.
Oh
Basically, I
yeah,
said
I
that like
like
a
it.
thousand times, but Lycanroc Dusk for like the last round you got it. I think that's a pretty good pick. So you got a
Yeah,
little
I'm
bit of a
kind of
glow up.
impressed you got it last pick.
Yeah. Volcarona, pretty good. Not as good as it was last gen, but it's still not to be slept on.
I mean, boots
Decid
are no small improvement.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And then Decidueye. I'm not JJ Bizzle, so I'm not gonna put you 16th because you have a Decidueye, but
But
Decidueye is
also,
not
we don't have
bad.
Baton Pass allowed anymore. Like, Baton Pass is dry now, so rip.
Yes. Any Poltergeist, anything with Poltergeist is not bad in my eyes, just because that's a
Even though you're
amazing
still
move.
running Spirit Shackle 80% of the time.
Mm, perhaps. And then you can even like I mentioned Volcarona, but like you can just run screens with Grimmsnarl into like Volcarona and you're probably set.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I think Screens is the entire reason there's a Grimmsnarl in the first place.
Yeah, that is true.
Because he had the Togekiss, so it's certainly not the fairy typing, and he could have done a bit better for Darks, I think. Not that I think Grimmsnarl's bad, just a bit
Yeah,
awkward.
I see what you mean. Grimmsnarl is just like one of those. It's
Speak,
if
Speaking of bad, though, there's one mon that you failed to mention for good reason, and that is the Ju- Uh, I don't know why there's a Caparaj on this team. I don't know if Fish thought it's a defensive mon. It's not a defensive mon. It is an offensive steel type when you have round one Zamazenta. So it's
oh yes, I did indeed forget there was a Copperajah there,
well, that's because there
but
really isn't because Caparaj isn't a mon. So
I wouldn't go that far. I think Copperajah is okay, but
well, it's not a mon when you have a Zamazenta.
it's probably far from okay on this team.
Yeah, like you're not bringing it. You just can't. Not with Zamazenta there. Like you don't have the slots to. And
There's
when you
literally
look at
no reason to bring it over Zamazenta either.
so speaking of that, so let's say if it isn't coming, what's the flying resist and what's the
There
fairy
isn't.
resist?
It
Well,
would
it's
be
Lycanroc
Lycanroc
and
Dusk.
Volcarona. Really, honestly, Zamazenta is both, and that's not good. Like I was
Yeah,
talking about this earlier with someone, and yeah, just hypothetically, look at this team. Look at a Star Raptor.
a Star Raptor. That is not a name I've heard in a while, but
But like
it will
unironically, look at
surely.
it.
It will sure. Yeah. For real.
Or like look at
It's
the
just.
Gather Zapdos that got drafted earlier, for example, that we already mentioned.
Oh boy, Galazapdos would indeed have a field day
Yeah.
versus this team.
Yep. Um. So speaking of Gather Zapdos, despite having a lot of fighting resists in theory, I still think this team is a bit fighting weak
I can see what you mean by that. Like none of
because
your
none of the
you
fighting
have
resists are that good at being
yeah you have a
defensive.
Slowking and a Togekiss, but other than that,
Like
eh,
Volcarona and
yeah.
Decidueye aren't really fighting resists. They're not
Those aren't
very
really
good at
fighting.
it,
I wouldn't
especially
call
not
those fighting
Volcarona.
resists at all. Yeah.
Decidueye can in pinch, but I mean Volcarona is not. But like I'm thinking, if you just have to worry about like a fighting type with like elemental punches, you're just really not happy about it.
There's a lot of fighting types that get access to knock anyway, so that kind of invalidates Decidueye
Yeah, and then
in that
Stone Edge
regard.
is all you need at that point. Like Knock and Stone Edge is pretty perfect here as well. Um, and then I also don't like the ground type matchup either, because the ground resists are Togekiss Decidueye.
Yes, those are the ground assists. Edgequake is just yeah,
Yeah,
Edgequake.
like your Edgequake answer is Decidueye, which is not the best Edgequake answer.
Yes, but I mean, I will be honest, I like Audino as a mod. I don't know why you took it
I
round
mean, he
7
clearly
though.
just wanted a regen core, and I mean, he did need a ghost resist.
Yeah, but I mean, you probably could have gotten something a little better than Audino, no?
I think Udno's fine for its value and for keeping the regen up with
Like,
Slowking.
yeah,
I don't have
I
an
like
issue.
it too. I just think it was a little bit early.
What I have an issue with is the Grimmsnarl, as I said before. I think if you got a cheap dark type and then something like uh, Vanillix, for example, as your screen setter, I think you'd be better off here. I think that would just add a bit more for your team than spending so much on Grimmsnarl.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment.
Because, like, if you took off the Copperajah, you took off the Grimmsnarl, you definitely have the points for Vanillix plus a quality dark type.
That he does. But with that out of the way, should we move on to number 6?
Yeah, hopefully that team will be less pathetic.
Disclaimer, that's his team name on the doc, pathetic. That we're not just bashing him
No,
just for
that's the official short form name. And I say short
uh
form because there's a long form name that I am far too. I am not willing to look up live. It's too
fair.
long.
But to move on from pathetic, we have Nim at number 6, coach of the Singapore Slickoos. Nim has drafted Urshifu, Single Strike, Tapu Fini, Necrozma, Ferrothorn, Rotom Heat, Nihilego, Dracovish, Porygon. I'm forgetting the name of that Pokemon, and Mega Pinsir.
Marshtomp.
Marshtomp. Marshtomp.
It's okay. It's not a big deal. You're forgetting it because why is it there and why is it the only ground type?
He must have drew some inspiration from Parksy, who drafted
Does
it
Parksy draft mono
before.
ground type as Marshtomp?
I mean, I'm pretty sure Marshtomp was like his only water until he made a trade.
I feel like your only ground is even worse. Honestly,
Yeah. In this case, yeah, for sure. But I will say we do not have Spoink here. Spoink probably would have rated this team first because he helped Nim draft this team, and we do not have Spoink with us.
you
So
know what? I could totally see that.
that is a big hit to Nim, and for that I apologize. Not really. I don't really
So
care.
so I'll start with the good. I like the top 7 on this team. At least
Yes.
individually, I think all of them are fine, and I don't think any of them have poor synergy with each other.
Uh,
Now let's move on to the bad. So first off, Porygon and Marshtomp, neither of them make any sense on this team.
true.
Like, you probably wanted a defensive normal, I think, on this. Like, I mentioned this mon
Hmm.
earlier, but I think this was the team I was thinking that Greedent would be a good fit on, for example, as it would just give you a pretty fat mon that you could just plug in and click buttons with.
Yes, I think Nim just wanted a an additional Spectre answer with
Uh,
the
uh,
Porygon in case.
Everybody knows it's the biggest threat, especially
Yes,
to an
indeed,
Urshifu team.
indeed. But
Uh, I
honestly,
mean, we
I th-
mentioned only ground type Marshtomp.
yeah, that's not good. You get a
What
better
were you
ground,
gonna say
please.
though? Sorry.
No, I just said that's not gonna get a better ground, please. That's it.
Yeah, but we haven't gotten to the biggest issue, and that's that this is a reverse version of this team's issue. This team is so slow. The fastest Pokemon is the Mega Pinsir, and
Uh,
the second fastest is the Urshifu. Or no, it's the Nihilego. Third fastest is Urshifu.
Yeah. Ah, ah,
Like your entire
that's not
team is
good.
outsped by like Mega Dynasty, so you're gonna be forced to run like Scarf Urshifu or Scarf Dracovish, like one of the two every game, basically. And both of
Yeah,
those mons would love to not be Scarf.
yeah, you probably want like a band on honestly both more than Scarf, but
You can do other stuff with Urshifu, but Bandfish is
yeah,
definitely my favorite set on it.
that's fair. Like I don't even like you probably honestly could have drafted like maybe like a Hippopotas in place of Marshtomp to help out the
Okay, let's not get too crazy here.
Dracovish. I mean, it gives him better speed control. What do you want? It's
He
better
also
than
could
just
have
having.
drafted. He also could have drafted an Electrode and gotten better speed control. But in all seriousness, as much as I love that top seven, I think the best way to improve this team would be to drop something in it in order to get a better fast mon. Because right now you don't really have room. Because you need a ground type and you need speed.
Yeah, it's weird because like you have good mons, you just need the speed.
Yeah, it's
And
just like
I
yeah,
could see it being a little bit difficult just to pick which you need to cut. Because like I
yeah,
said, there's a lot of good Pokemon on this team. But
yeah. I
that
mean,
the
there's so
speed thing
many
is just
good
a huge
Pokemon that
glaring
even with
weakness.
declaring. Yeah, even with that and the ground type flaws, I still think the top seven is just so good that I couldn't put this team much lower.
Right, yeah.
And I do know that that pincer did not last excessively long, but I don't think that dropping it did enough. So, Nim, if you're hearing this, get get a better ground type.
Yes, please do, for both of our sakes, or we will not be happy. Actually, I won't say that because we don't care. Isn't that
Wow,
right?
I care. I care.
Do you?
Yeah, in fact, I care so much that I think we'll move on. So you don't
Yes.
slander Nim anymore.
That's a perfect
So,
segue into number five. We have
uh,
here commissioner of the 19th best draft league on DPL, number one draft league in my eyes. Hashtag Flight is Justice because he loves Alomomola. We see from him Mega Mawile, Rillaboom, Toxapex, Infernape, Crocodile, Noivern, Reuniclus, Jolteon, Cofagrigus, and the Greedent that Killer's been mentioning so often because he loves it.
oh, I mean, how could you just look at that smile? How could you not?
And
But in all seriousness,
from my experience
oh
playing in
yeah, you.
NDPL, I've seen Sheer super just like just fat teams, and for as far as sheer teams are concerned, I honestly think this is pretty tame in comparison. Because like
Yeah, I mean,
he replaced his Mega Aggron for Mega Mawile. That's a definite upgrade. He dropped the
oh,
Alola
I
Mola
mean,
for
anything over
Pax.
Megatron's an upgrade.
He loves Mega Aggron. I don't know what to tell you. And Infernape, I've seen him use quite a bunch. Noivern, I think I have seen him use. I don't think I've ever seen him use a Uniclus. And then just I think he had Rillaboom on DPL not long ago either, and he probably
I'm
did
gonna
well
be
with it.
honest. I think all of these mons individually are really good. I'm just not sure if all of them are good fits on this team.
I can see that.
Like when you have like Mega Maw, Rillaboom, Inferno, Noivern, Jolteon even, and like Crocodile and stuff, I don't like the passiveness of Toxapex Rodriguez. I think they're just gonna be a big momentum drain on what's otherwise a really good offensive team.
But in my eyes, Greedent is the saving grace of this team,
Yeah, I
just
mean,
because.
that at least it has some offense.
True, does have offense. It has
Also, I don't
pretty
know if he
decent mixture of
intended
offense and
Reuniclus.
defense. Sorry.
I don't know if he intended Reuniclus to be a regen core with pets, but it's not one. Sorry, hate to break it to you here. You're not running regen.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he ran it in his first week game, but we don't talk about that
You're
because
not.
that
You're
did
not
not
running
happen in
regen.
our eyes.
You're not running regen. I don't care if you already ran it. You're not running it.
Well, sure, we'll go with that.
By the way, something I want to mention so that if Shear's opponents know this is coming is I like the Rillaboom Jolteon core because then you get nature power with the Jolteon.
And how could you
Uh,
spoil that?
oh, sorry.
You're
You
evil.
wanna just dub over that so that nobody hears it in the real thing.
You have to beep it out. Although honestly, I'm probably
Just
too
cover
lazy
it
to
up.
edit it.
Just cover it up with KHT saying MLP a few times. That should do it. Also, I'm a liar. Jolteon doesn't get nature
That
power.
would require me finding
Hurrah!
a KHD soundbite. So
Don't worry. Jolteon doesn't get nature power, so just make your opponents over prep for nothing. Don't worry about it.
wow,
But you
that
did
is
believe me
very
for a
evil.
moment there. It's okay. This is why I double check things that I say.
Nice,
But don't
but
worry. He will run the grassy by Jolteon instead.
mhm. So looking at hazards, one like slight problem with this team is that your best rocker is Crocodile, which that in itself isn't bad, but considering your other rockers are Mawile and Fernape, I do think it's a
Yeah, the
little bit of
rockers
an
are a bit
issue.
weak here. I can agree.
Yeah.
You also have
Yeah,
2 T-spike setters, which is a bit
TT spikers
odd,
are
I think.
nice. That is nice,
Yeah,
in
but
my
I don't
opinion.
think you needed 2 of them on this type of team. What I do think you want on this type of team is a spiker, and you have none of those, and that saddens me.
Uh, hmm, maybe.
Because you just like with this type of offensive team, you just want immediate damage.
Yeah, for sure. You just want to just maybe like lead some like a pivot and just get in. I don't know, while what's the
'Cause
name? Rillaboom.
yeah, because you don't really have the
Honestly,
defensive core for a more drawn out one.
yeah. I know Sheer is like a naturally like more of like a defensive minded player, even though he has the
Yeah, I know
ability
that
to play
feeling,
well
so I'm sure
offensively.
we'll see some balanced builds with this team, but I'm not sure if
Yeah.
that's the best fit for the team itself.
Because like I could just knowing Sheer as a player, I could see him bringing Fat Noivern a lot with like Defog or something. Just like
Well,
talking
that's
to
just a good
mirrors.
set. I don't see the
Yeah.
issue.
No, I'm just saying
Noivern's just a really versatile mon,
he's probably
so
just like I'm just saying he's probably like likely to run it like multiple
yeah.
times.
I just really like the Noivern on here. I think it was a very good pickup.
Yeah, yeah, I think
Also,
Noivern's pretty
kudos to
decent on
getting
this team.
Crocodile, aka Ground type that doesn't care about grass seeds doing that badly. Although
True.
have fun missing high horsepower and using the game to it.
Ah, yes, just don't run the ground move. It's not worth it.
Just bring Earth Power Crook, honestly.
Or Scorching Sands, does it get that?
Probably, honestly. But like Earth Power though, oh my gosh, this spit F drops.
But oh my gosh, the 30% burn.
It's A, it's
Anyway,
30%, B, you're already gonna T-Bolt power them, so who cares?
uh, but I think we've
Yeah, I
bantered
think we've
enough
run out of
about
stuff to
Cheers
say
here.
here.
So, would you like to give us number four?
I would like to give us number 4. Number 4, we have A Sword, coach of the New Jersey Nidokings, who did not draft Nidoking, but he did draft Mew, Terrakion, Nidoqueen, Mandibuzz, Spectrier, Blastoise, Silvally, Aromatisse, Tangela, Rotom Fan, and Mega Steelix, the best Mega. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Serious respect for the Mega Licks. Love that mon.
Mhm. But let's take a look. Let's dissect this team a little further.
So that
Uh,
top 2, first off,
I like Turek a lot. I think it's
I love
gotten
Tarak.
getting some notoriety more often this gen because more people are realizing it's really good.
Yeah,
I'm surprised. I'm
Silverin
surprised you got
didn't hurt.
Mandibuzz like relatively late, considering people with Dragapult always just draft
I
Mandy
mean, I
when they're
think we've
next
seen
available to.
worse things. I think we've seen worse steals so far. Yeah, it wasn't a bad rep pick up at round 4.
Mhm. Yeah, Silvally,
So
I'm just not completely sure about. I'm not particularly fond of Savali. Like, it
I
does
like
nice things,
Silvally,
but
and I think it was a good fit on this team. So I
mhm,
actually don't mind it here.
yeah,
I
because
think
like
it's the
in my eyes,
Blastoise and
it
the
does.
Aromatisse that I have issues with here.
Yeah, that's a relatively early Blastoise. Probably could have gotten a different water, but and yeah, I'm not a fan of Aromatisse.
Also, Tangela is a very odd choice, I think.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, it's a good mon. I just don't see what he wanted on this team for.
I mean, I could see him like drafting it over like other cheaper grounds
Grounds?
because or not grounds. Sorry, yeah, thanks for correcting me. Grasses because like over
I
Roselia,
just
you
don't
already have a
think you need the
Nidoqueen.
grass, is what I'm saying.
You think
I don't,
so?
I don't, yeah, I don't think you need one. You got like Mandibuzz as like a pretty good anti-ground type.
I mean, yeah, but having like another one wouldn't hurt necessarily,
You
especially
got
if we.
Rotom Fan right there.
Okay, but that's double flying. That's.
Okay, you got a
I mean,
Blastoise, you got an Aromatisse. I mean, you draft Aromatisse, you better at least bring it to something.
okay, but how do you feel about the Mega Licks on here?
It's Mega Licks, it's always good. But no, I mean I seriously like the Mon. I think it's really underrated.
Hmm.
And I hope it gets to come a few times because it's the only non-Savali steel type here. Which is
Yeah,
honestly my biggest problem is that this team does not appreciate ice.
that is true.
You have Blastoise and Silvally, and then your next best ice resist is Mew.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I don't really like the Blastoise, because that's just
Oh,
gonna
I
get
mean,
chipped down.
I already said I don't like the Blastoise.
Yeah, I know I did too, but that's just going on that furthermore. You could also, I mean, you could run like Steel Silvally, but eh, even like Fire
um,
Silvally. The set that 6-0 Ches, I think that was Fire Silvally.
I don't think we've mentioned the horse in the room.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like that you have multiple T spikers and just a lot of like reasonable ways to spread status to get in like Hex Spectre.
I
It's like
also
I know
really like
this,
Terrakion, like a really good mon to break the
yeah,
normals and darks.
like I know Spectre is uh like I feel like it's you either love it or you hate it in
I mean,
as
I
far as
think
the
more
in the
people lean
draft
toward
community
hate,
size.
but
Yeah,
I
I
want
would
to be
say so too,
optimistic at
but
least. And
I'm me personally, I'm a
we'll
Spectre believer. I think it's pretty good, especially
yeah,
with
I mean, I
Tarak and
better
just like
believe
T
it starts my
spikers.
track,
Hmm.
Wouldn't be good for me to not believe in a mon I took.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, I
But
mean,
yeah,
you can only put him on still a team so low when it's got you out, honestly.
but yeah. I just realized I am running a little bit low on time, so I'm going to move on to number three, Blitz the P-Banders. I would go over his team, but he still owes me a mock from TDA that he did not give me, so you can go over his
So
team
I'll
if you'd
go over
like.
it instead. That's okay. That
Yes.
means I get to mention that Blitz has a Dragapult, as well as Rotom Wash, the Nidoking that someone wanted, Weavile, Melmetal, Uxie, Moltres, Throw, Groddle, Licky Tongue, and Mega Gardevoir. So right off the bat, Blitz, you do realize that Undead is not playing in Quick Feet, right?
I hope he does. I'm pretty sure Undead is still banned from the server as well.
Yeah, but like that's details at this point.
Hmm.
Um,
So there's
I remember.
honestly there's not much that can go wrong with this team considering you have a Dragapult and a Mega Guard. Just those two
I mean,
together
that
are
top
really
seven,
nice.
that entire top seven is
The top
really
eight,
really
top eight,
good.
throw was nice. Throw was
Okay,
nice.
okay. I want to actually mention Throw because I love Throw as a mon. I think it's really good. I don't like it on this team. I think you wanted a better offensive fighting with Dragapult. Throw's more of a fat mon. It's not really an offensive mon, and I think you want an offensive fighting here.
Hmm. That's fair.
Unfortunately,
But
while I have seen into the future, and I know that Blitz did drop the throw for more offensive fighting, he managed to make the
no,
team worse in the process. So let's pretend that we don't have the ability to see in the future.
that as far as we're concerned, that never happened.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to pretend that's the case, so I will pretend that's the case.
Nice,
One other issue I have with this team is that it is really knockoff weak.
indeed.
Like,
And
the only
even one
real
of your
knockoff
like one of the
switching is the
things,
throw.
yeah. Another
Because you have
issue,
two of Violite Mons. You got you only have one Mon with Violet that isn't like I mean you've got a few, but like Guard and like Grotto doesn't count. Guard doesn't really count. Licky Tongue doesn't count. None of those want to get knocked off. Moltres has lab recovery and it loses its boots and now it's like really down bad. Rotom loses its item and now it's not getting any healing and it's taking rocks.
it reminds me of the video Phil Nilsson made of Oris Mega Guard, in which one of his points was that it's gonna be weak to knock, which still 2 gens later still stands pretty true. Just because
Yeah,
you don't resist, you're not gonna be able to resist it because of the psychic typing, and it's a guard anyway, so it's probably gonna take a reasonable amount from knock anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I'm slightly biased because I have bad memories of Dragapult Mega Gardevoir as a pairing.
Uh,
But otherwise, I mean, again, I like
one other
the
issue,
monster
one other,
Vincey. I just yeah.
yeah, one other issue is the removal. I mean, you just
Yeah,
have
the
Rotom
removal is
Ultras.
I mean, they're good
Both are
removers. The
good
problem
defoggers, but
is
both are good
when you
defoggers.
combine
You
that
just
with the knock weakness we mentioned, it becomes a
right,
lot harder. Like,
yeah,
it's
it just becomes a
actually
bigger
really hard to
liability.
bring dog traits in this team, I think, because you're
Hmm.
going to have to worry about knockoff every time.
Yeah.
And if you ever get knocked off, now you're not defogging.
Hmm. And let's see, good
And while
hazard removal
Rotom's a
or not
good
hazard removal,
defogger,
hazard
it doesn't like
settings.
being stuck with it. Uh,
Right,
yeah, the
decent
rockers
hazard
are
settings.
Nidoking, Grottle, and
I mean, you'll
Uzi.
probably
I
run it on
I
Uzi.
somehow slept on Uzi.
You
See,
run
yeah,
on
you're just gonna
Uzi a
have to
lot.
bring rocks and Uzi most of the time. That's fine, I
Hmm.
guess. I mean,
Yeah,
Nidoking's a good T-Spiker, though. I can't complain there.
yeah. There's a
Um,
slight speed gap from guard to Weavile, but I don't think that's a huge deal. Just
I
something I
I
noticed.
don't honestly care. You've got Weavile.
Right.
That beats most of the things in that
Yeah.
tier.
You've got Dragapult, so that
Yeah,
matters
like
good.
when you have that much, take a few gaps in the higher end.
There's not much that you can do wrong when you have a Dragapult team.
Well, I would beg to differ, but you
Ah,
you could potentially downgrade your Moltres and get a second fire for no reason. You could do that. That could be somewhat wrong, but you would never do that.
right.
I love you, Blitz, but your transactions were awful.
Those never existed. All right, I'm moving on to number two. We have Palkia 62, London Lanterns. He drafted Tapu Koko, Mega Medicham, Gengar, Dragonite, Seismitoad, Serena, Mesprit, Alolan Persian, Regigigas, Colossal, Pinsir, and Empoleon.
Freaking Garfield.
Yes, Garfield. It is not Monday, so we will not have bad things to say about Alolan Persian. That is how it
Oh no, I'll
works.
say bad things. It's still a bad mon.
Nope. Uh, One thing this does look like to me, this looks like a Gen 7 team, and I like playing Gen 7, so this team gets a thumbs up from me,
Well, it's a
just
Gen
from that
7
alone.
team, but where Regigigas is actually a good mon.
Yes. It's Coco
But
Medi, that just those two together, along with the
yeah, and then
Gengar,
you throw the
that,
Gengar. Yeah, like
yeah,
that Gengar I want to mention.
that's
I
just,
will say it does start to fall off a bit with D9, but then like Seismitoad is good, so
mhm,
can't complain. It just kind of goes hit or miss at that point. D9's
mhm,
Ode's great,
yeah,
Serena's Mesprit's great, I think. Persian sucks, Regigigas is broken. Um, Flossel's weird. I don't think your team needed it. Pinsir
mhm.
exists. I don't know why you got it. And then Empoleon
Empoleon's not
is
bad,
yeah, I think it's
but
fine on this
with
team. You've got
Seismitoad,
another
I'm not
water.
sure.
No, no, no. I would never have mono water Empoleon. I think a water ground is an amazing pairing for Empoleon because they
That's
don't share
fair.
any weaknesses, and Seismitoad is the real water.
Yeah. I just feel like
Empoleon's just the
personally,
steel type on the team.
I wouldn't bring both to like the same game. But
Oh,
I
I
guess
could see
having
myself
that
doing it for sure.
option is nice.
They do
I
different things because Empoleon's your ice resist. In fact, it's the only ice resist that isn't the colossal, so that's
mhm.
kind of an issue.
One thing I will say about the Dragonite pick is that I'm a Dragonite hater, but for what it does, it's got a lot of good things going for it
Yeah,
to
I'm gonna
be as
overblow
unbiased as
my.
possible.
Yeah, I'm gonna overblow the criticism of Dragonite. I don't actually think it's that bad.
Yeah, like some people
I
have.
just wouldn't have wanted to get it. It's a bond I would pick up if it's available. It's not a bond I would take before.
I don't even think I would take it if it was available. That's how much I
Well, I'm
just
saying
generally
if I was
dislike it.
going to take it. If I
Yeah.
was going to take it, it would be if because it was around.
Hmm. Uh,
Um, I mean, we're getting to the point where there's not much to say. This team's actually relatively solid. I think. I mentioned the ice
yeah.
weakness. I do think this team can be a bit fighting. I think Mesprit's the only really good answer to fighting types.
I could see that. I think knock hurts this team a little bit. but you can play around it.
Yeah, you do
And
have
like
like Serena that can sort of handle knock, and
yeah,
like Coco to an extent,
Coco's a
depending on the
decent
line.
one, but like you're losing your boots there. But on
Yeah,
the plus
but
side,
like
you do have
that's
something that actually resists the attack.
yeah, and a lot of knockoff mods can really threaten Coco better.
Hmm. But yeah, there's not really much else worth saying. Just that this is a really solid team all
Well,
around.
I
But
mean, well, the dark type is awful, and I'm sure there's no way Palkia could possibly get an even worse dark type on the team.
what could that possibly be alluding to?
Nothing's happened.
Exactly.
Including, we
So
haven't talked about the number one team yet.
yeah, so there is a team that we do like in more than Palkia's team, even though we just complimented this team a lot. And I'm sorry in advance because I've not progressed. I'm sorry in advance.
I blame
Blame Ag
Agronauts.
blame Agronauts in the comments section. We have not the nice slides that you've been seeing
Leave a
thanks
like if
to
you're upset with Agronauts.
yes, leave a like, subscribe because the DGBA channel almost has 100 subscribers.
Oh boy.
And yes, so
If we
unfortunately
get
for
100
the
subscribers, we'll be one away from 101.
well, if we have the unfortunately for the number one team in the league, they do not get the nice slides provided to us by Agronauts and Has. Thank you for those slides, by the way. But we will have to do with this. So yeah,
So
Ripple
we
Tide
got number one
Blastoise,
team. Yeah, Sun
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 Sun.
with the Mega Gallade, Hydreigon, Heatran, Mamoswine, Crobat, Humfay, Alomomola, Typenol, Celebi, Rotom, and Gyarados.
Oh,
And I'm not going to say this team's perfect. Right off the bat, it's not. Okay?
it's
Disclaimer.
yeah, for sure.
But when you start off with like that top six, like that's a good start, I think.
Hmm. I'll continue the trend of saying I like seeing the Gen 7-esque core of Gallade Hydra, even though that's still very good. If not
Oh
better than
no,
this
yeah,
generation,
like both
just
mons are
because of the
better
new
this
stuff.
gen.
Yeah.
Yeah, like both mons got buffs this gen, and they were already good last gen.
Yeah.
Heatran's as good as ever.
Those
Mamoswine
one's
is
great.
Mamoswine. Crobat is Crobat, and it's better this gen because of boots. Comfey is still one of only like 3 viable fairies, etc.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't say that, but
All right,
uh
fine. It's the best fairy in the game. Better.
yes, thank you. Thank you.
And he has the only Comfey counter in the game as Heatran on his team already, so you know he can't lose.
Indeed. I actually like Heatran a lot. I think it's a little bit slept on, but it's a very good pocket monster in my opinion.
Uh, I'm not sure if it's slept on. I think it's just that it's a Pokemon that's a bit hard to use, so some people might not like it because it's a bit much. But I
Mhm.
think if you are someone who understands how to use Heatran, I think it has a very high potential.
Right, yeah.
And
That's fair.
especially now that it has Flame Body this gen, when your opponent has a bad fire type, and especially because this team isn't very fire weak at all, that
Yeah,
can
you've
put a
got
lot
good
of pressure on
resists.
teams now. Yeah. Well, he has good resists, but I will say that that does lead into my biggest issues with the team, and that is the water types.
Yeah. So Ologera, they're decent ones, but it leaves more to be
Neither of them fit the
desired.
team, I don't think. I
Yeah.
sort of understand the idea with Aloe to like pass Wish into
I like
Heatran,
the
but
I
like,
think the I give the Wish idea some credit, but aside from that,
yeah, I mean it'd be better I think if it was Vaporeon here rather than Aloe, but I think Aloe's okay, I guess.
hmm
I don't
yeah.
understand why there's Gyarados. I'm going to be completely honest.
Yeah.
So the fact that you could spend like 10 points on a Gyarados that doesn't make any sense and still get the best team, don't think too hard about that.
Right, I was gonna say there's plenty of probably better options than a Gyarados.
I mean,
Maybe he
yeah,
just
just
wanted maybe he just wanted
I don't know,
another win
maybe he
con,
likes
as if
Gyarados.
Gallade
Maybe he
wasn't
just
enough.
Maybe he just likes Gyarados. I don't I'm not gonna question
Maybe,
it.
maybe. If you do, good for you. Good for you. I'm happy for
Maybe he
you.
just wanted to flex and get enough points for a Gyarados at the end of the draft.
I suppose. Good on you for being conservative with your points, even though you drafted
Or maybe he just
Typenol
realized that
relatively early.
Gyarados 6-0'd him, so he wanted to draft it someone else could.
Perhaps, perhaps. But thankfully there was no Mega Gyarados either, so and you can't draft
Yeah,
both.
yeah, otherwise Sensen probably would have drafted both. I bet, right now.
Yup.
With the Mega Gallade, of course.
Hmm.
I'm also not sure Celebi was the best fit as either a grass or a psychic, but I'm mid Celebi. I think Lemon's still solid.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Typenol is a really good value normal, and I like it on this team a lot.
I like Typenol as well.
Unfortunately, since then, you did manage to find the one Rotom form I don't rate, but I'm sure it'll be fine,
Yeah,
and it makes
it'll
sense here.
it will indeed be fine. Probably not worse, but probably not better.
I mean, I think it makes sense on this team when you have stuff like
Yeah,
Hydreigon to pair it with.
I get it for sure. You need an electric late, Rotom's there. Also helps get the ghost
Also,
type
like
stuff
all,
you don't
all,
already
all
have.
the other Rotom forms got taken in this draft, so I guess you don't really have a choice.
Nice. When do you see that? All the Rotom's
Uh,
gone.
Only in a good draft like the DGBA. Please subscribe.
Indeed. Yes. So that about wraps it up. Thank you for watching. I acknowledge or I realized to myself way earlier that this is my first time recording on OBS on my new laptop. So Killer might not have had his audio recorded this whole time. If not, that's really awkward. But
Yeah, just tell them that, if they can't hear me, I just said that, I love them all and that they need to subscribe or I will stalk them.
Killer says he loves you all, and if you don't love him back, he will not do great things to you. So,
Yeah,
thank you for
like I
watching.
might dislike your videos on YouTube.
That is, you don't want that to happen. You don't want Killer to dislike your YouTube videos, but that is all. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.